Well, if you just want to say and spell your name.
Melissa Price Smith, Melissa, Price, Price, Smith, Smith.
All right. What can you tell us? What's your reaction to the guilty plea?
Well, as you all know, on August 9th of 2024, the 10-year anniversary of Michael Brown's passing, Elijah Gantt assaulted Officer T.J. Brown while Officer Brown was effectuating an arrest. The trial began on Monday due to 2 days of jury selection. Yesterday was a full day of evidence, which included very graphic body cam of T.J. Gantt attacking and tackling Officer Brown. Last night, our office received a call from defense counsel that Mr. Gantt wanted to plead guilty. At that point, we contacted Officer Brown and his family. Although this office represents the state of Missouri, we are a victim-centered office. And everything that we have done in this case, every step, has been with the agreement and behest of Officer Brown and his family.
And we learned from TJ's sister that actually it was his decision to have the guilty plea. Tell us about that.
Yeah, our team of prosecutors on this case are three of the best prosecutors in the office. When they got the call last night from defense counsel that Mr. Gantt wanted to plead, we all felt very, very strongly that this be the decision of the family, whether to move forward or whether to agree to stop the trial at that point. The family relayed to our assistant prosecuting attorneys that the whole decision would be up to Officer Brown. And it was Officer Brown who felt at this time it was time to enter into what's called a blind plea, which means the judge will decide the sentence. Mr. Gantt pled guilty this morning to assault second degree, as well as resisting arrest when he was being arrested for a felony. The assault second degree carries 5 to 15 years, and the resisting arrest carries 1 to 4 years. So he's facing a potential of 19 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections. But again, it will be the judge's decision at sentencing.
What does that say about TJ, about the kind of person he is?
Officer Brown is an incredible person. He is resilient. He was in court yesterday for the trial. He sat there, listened to the evidence, and watched the actual body cam of the trauma that he endured in 2024. So not only his strength at fighting back, fighting for his life, his strength at sitting in that courtroom yesterday, and then his strength at saying, yeah, I agree to this. I want closure for my family. I want closure for myself.
Walk us through the decision to amend the charges in the weeks and the days leading up to trial.
Yeah, there were originally multiple charges. I think it was approximately 15 charges originally. The misdemeanor charges were dismissed prior to trial, just to avoid confusing the jury, to keep it much more straightforward. Our prosecutors went forward with the felony charges. At the time of the plea, other charges were, property damage charges were dismissed. We kept the charges that affected Officer Brown. The property damage charges were very important. They dealt with offense. Offense is offense. Offense can be fixed. Officer Brown is so very resilient, and we never give up hope. But it is very likely that his injuries are permanent. Our team went forward with the charges that affected Officer Brown.
You've tried dozens of cases, felony cases. Is it unusual for a defendant to get this far into a trial and then decide to plea, or does this happen more often?
It happens. You know, sometimes a defendant will be sitting in his or her own trial and see the evidence presented. See, like in this case, the body cam video. Maybe, you know, and I'm not trying to get in Mr. Gantt's head, but maybe he saw the jury's reaction to it. He also saw Officer T.J. Brown sitting in there in the condition that he's in. So it could have been many, many factors. But I've had trials in the past where defendants midway through have thought, maybe it's a better idea for me to plead guilty and take responsibility. And Mr. Gantt decided to take responsibility, and he did that today in a guilty plea.
To that point, how confident were you if he did not plead guilty today that you were going to win the trial and he was going to be found guilty of these charges?
Well, you know, anytime anybody goes to trial, It could always go either way. We were confident in our evidence. We were confident that Mr. Gantt tackled Officer T.J. Brown, creating a catastrophic injury and changing his life forever. So juries can always do anything. We can never predict what a jury's going to do. But we only go forward when we are confident in our evidence, like we were here.
Did you guys, were you negotiating a plea up until like last week? I thought he was kind of talking about it.
Sure. There were plea discussions prior to the trial, as there are in most cases. There were plea discussions and plea negotiations were going back and forth, and that fell apart, which is why our 3 assistant prosecutors proceeded to trial. And then last night, the defense attorney indicated that at this time his client was ready to plead guilty and take responsibility.
Sentencing November
20th, sentencing.
Do you expect TJ to address the court during that hearing?
I don't. I expect the family to address the court. Possibly TJ, but I expect his family will address the court, yeah.
Anything else you want to add just about the trial? I know you guys were hoping it was going to be shorter. Now it's even way shorter than you guys kind of anticipated, right?
Yeah, this is a victim-centered office, and the focus of this trial has been Officer T.J. Brown and his family. And to see the support for Officer Brown in that courtroom, his family, his colleagues, the community, there was so much support there. And, whatever number of years Mr. Gantt is sentenced to is absolutely no correlation of the trauma that Officer Brown and his family has gone through. They just want justice and they want closure.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everybody.
You talked about the trial, you talked about the charges and the ones that you had dropped. Most likely, the courts intend to, especially misdemeanor charges, they run concurrently anyway, so it probably took nothing away or added nothing to what's going to be a sentence.
Absolutely. If we had kept the misdemeanor charges, they would have most likely run concurrent anyway. It would not have affected the sentence.